When Sam was strong enough to sit upright, when the fever had broken and the burns along his ribs no longer tore with every breath, he asked the elderly woman for paper. She didn't understand the words, but she understood the gesture. A scrap of wrapping paper, a dull pencil worn almost to nothing. That was all she had to offer. In wars across Vietnam, soldiers, American and Vietnamese alike, wrote letters on whatever they could find. Ration boxes, cigarette paper, the backs of maps, even the edges of newspapers pulled from ruins. Anything that could carry words became a lifeline. Sam pressed the pencil to the paper with shaking hands and began to write. He didn't know where to start. Did he tell them he was alive? Did he tell them where he was? Did he tell them he didn't remember the firefight or how long he'd been gone? That he'd been saved by a stranger he couldn't speak a single word to? In the end, he wrote what he could. He wrote to his mother first, told her he was safe, told her not to worry, told her he'd be home as soon as he could reach the nearest American unit. He wrote to his father, telling him to take care of the family. He wrote to Ben, "Stay strong," the kind of line only brothers understand. And he wrote to Emily, told her he loved her, told her he held her picture even when he didn't know which world he was in, told her she was the reason he kept fighting to stay awake, to stay alive, to come home. When he finished, he folded the scrap gently, the way his mother used to fold his school notes, and handed it to the old woman. She didn't read it, she just bowed her head, as though she understood the weight of what she carried. For civilians in Vietnam, mail routes were a dangerous labyrinth. Villagers who traveled between towns sometimes carried letters, news, messages, favors. No guarantees, no promises, just the hope that something might reach the right pair of hands. The woman walked the letter to a neighbor who passed it to a traveling trader who claimed he knew someone who delivered messages to American camps. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. No one will ever know. But somewhere along that chain, between the woman's hut and the river and the trader and the road that cut through the valley, Sam's letter vanished. It could have been dropped. It could have been burned. It could have been taken by soldiers on either side. It could have been soaked through in a storm and unreadable by the time it reached anyone. War swallows small things easily. Sometimes it swallows the big things too. Back home, Emily waited every single day for a letter that never came. Ben checked the mailbox twice a morning when he thought no one could see him. Sam's mother prayed for a miracle, begging for one scrap of hope. His father carried the telegram in his breast pocket like a wound he could never stop touching. The weeks turned into months. Grief settled deeper. Silence turned into acceptance. And life, slowly, reluctantly, began shifting without him. All while Sam believed that the words he had written were traveling safely back home. He had no idea that the only message that could have saved them all had been lost to the jungle and the war and the 1,000 invisible paths between them. For Sam Talbot, hope was alive. For everyone back home, he was gone. That small tear in time would change everything.